Hey Marissa, this video is for you on how to make pizza dough. So I'm gonna start with a teaspoon of yeast and put it in my bowl. And then I have a cup and a half of just hot water out of the tap. And I don't know, I always see warnings from people about tap water killing the yeast, but that has never happened to me. So I just let it go like as hot as it can. And then put in a tablespoon of fine sea salt. And then a cup of flour. And you can just use a fork or your fingers or like whatever you do. This is a dough whisk that I like. Just mix it all together. I did some experimenting with low or high hydration pizza dough and it was really awesome, but it was kind of messy. So I don't know, I don't do that anymore, but I try not to put as much flour in here as I do my bread. And it's like 3.5 cups of flour total, but I usually go by dough consistency. So just mix it up. Sticking to the sides, which is okay. Usually the first round I let it stay a little bit sticky, but I'm gonna put some more flour in there. And some crazy people like knead for like 10 minutes. They knead their dough to develop the gluten, and I've never done that. And I think my pizza crust is awesome, so, and my bread. So I just wouldn't do that. I just knead it a little bit. And it's still pretty sticky, sticking to my hands, but that's okay. So you can make pizza dough and put it in the fridge, like way in advance, or you can make it the day that you want to use it, like I'm going to use it tonight. But you have to let it sit for at least an hour and a half. And so I'm going to do an hour proof this first round, and I just cover it. Oh, my olive oil's gone. Well, that's not very helpful. Just drizzle it with olive oil and then kind of just let the olive oil get under it and on all the sides of it. And that's it. I'm gonna cover it with a towel and put it in my oven. So I usually like to turn my oven on to warm and get it to be about 80-90 degrees in there, and then it just rises really well in there. So that's what I've got going on. You can also, if it's a hot day, just leave it out on your counter, but you got to make sure that you cover it with something. So I just use a dish towel like this and put it in my oven for an hour, and we'll see what it looks like in an hour. Okay, so this has been in my oven with the light on for like an hour and a half because I got busy and forgot about it. So it's doubled in size, and I'm just gonna squish it around a little bit. Now you can do two things at this point. If you're not ready to make pizza yet, you can just knead it a little bit and then you can put it back, and it can just keep rising and keep doing that cycle. Or if you're ready to make your pizza, you can just cut it. So one of these usually I cut it in 3 because we like really thin crust pizza, but you can just cut it and shape it. And you can see my dough is still pretty sticky, but the olive oil is keeping it from sticking to my hands. So cut it and shape it into some balls, and then cover it, let it sit for at least another half hour, but longer is better. And then you just, well, I'll show you the next step, but so you can do that, or you can throw it back in for longer. I used to be afraid that I would overproof pizza dough, and it turns out that that is not possible. So I don't worry about it anymore. I just put it in when I have time, and then keep going from there. So I'm gonna stick mine back in the bowl, and I will show you the next step later today. Alright, so this is what my dough balls look. It was the one big dough ball, it turned into 3 big dough balls. That's what it looks like after resting. So I started this dough at 10:30 this morning, and out of sheer laziness, it is now 4 o'clock, and my dough is just fine. So you can do this in an hour and a half, you can do it in a whole day, you can do it in a week if you want to just throw it in the fridge. So it doesn't really matter. You just have to have at least an hour and a half under your belt. So the first hour that you do is proving. The second hour, you're letting it rest in its ball shape because it'll be much easier to roll out. So I use a floured pizza peel. And you want to make sure it's good and floured because I like my dough really sticky because it makes a really nice, light, airy crust. So I just mush it out a little bit, try to get it into a roundy shape. Or thereabouts. And then this is super frowned upon in the pizza making community. But I use rolling pin, so I don't have the magic chucking skills. And my pizza peel is about the same roundness as my pizza stone, which is nice, so I can make it to fit. And you'll notice the doughs, I don't know how familiar you are with dough. I'm talking to you like you have no idea about dough, which you probably do, but the dough is really elastic and it snaps back into place, so it takes a little bit of time to get it all the way rolled out. And if you like a crust, you can roll it that way so that there's more of a crust on the outside. That's totally your call. Getting there. You can also fast forward through this part because it's really boring. It's important. So, we'll getting out of shape a little bit here. Alright, so that's a pretty good approximation of my pizza stone. And then you want to make sure that it's really good and floured underneath, because sometimes what'll happen is it'll stick to your peel and then it'll fall off into your oven somewhere that you don't want it to fall off onto. And that's terrible. And then your pizza's ruined. So, alright, that looks pretty good. So I heat my oven to 450. And I'll bring you with me. So there's my pizza stone. And you just take your pizza peel and you go like that. And sometimes it gets weird shaped and that's okay. And I'm gonna cook it for about 4 minutes and then I'm gonna pull it out. And then I'm gonna do the same with each of these crusts. Can you see those crusts? Yeah, you can. And I'm going to throw these in the freezer. I put them in a 2-gallon Ziploc and put them in the freezer. And then you just pull them out and make a pizza real quick later on. So that's the cool thing to do. So that's really it. And I'll send you a picture of my final pizza. Thanks. Bye.